CX Today. My name is Charlie, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Eric Jorgensen, Vice President of Enterprise Sales for EMEA at Zendesk. Eric, it's great to have you join us. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm all good, thanks you, Charlie, and thank you for taking the time to speak with me today.
Yeah, well, it's a very good topic today. One that's very kind of prominent, I guess, within the media with with everything that's been going on, from success stories to failures, and that is chatbots and conversational AI. It was also, unsurprisingly, perhaps one of the big trends from Zendesk's 2024 CX Trends report. I think it was the second trend that said that chatbots are rapidly turning into digital agents and have the capacity to do more. But the report does also acknowledge, quite interestingly, that customers are eager for bots to improve. So yeah, I guess maybe where the best place to start this conversation from my perspective is kind of by asking you to summarize the current performance of bots within the customer experience space.
Yeah, so I think there's been significant advances in bot technology in the last 2 years, and I mean last year in particular. AI became a very everyday word in everyone's lexicon that it perhaps wasn't sort of 2-3 years ago. So we've seen that have a big impact, and I think what we've seen with that is it has a big impact on customers and consumers' expectation versus what's being delivered. So I think there's advancements. There's been a lot of prototyping and building with AI, and we've seen some early adopters go live with AI, generative AI bots, providing service to their customers. But we still find a situation where 64% of CX leaders acknowledge the need to invest more in bots and in AI. And what's driving that, candidly, is that 80% of consumers expect more from the bots they're interacting with, and think those bots should be able to do more. I think that the blessing and the curse with these things is if you have a great digital agent experience with one of your companies you interact with, you kind of expect that from everyone. And I think that's where we're seeing people are aware that it's possible, but they're not seeing that across all of the companies they interact with, and therefore that expectation sort of gap has been highlighted. And I think that's why we're seeing this, let's say 64% of leaders saying that they do need to invest more in this because consumers' expectation is rightly so, but very high.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point, given kind of the rollout and the reaction that ChatGPT had maybe at the start, and kind of consumers have that expectation now that all kind of AI has become that advanced and can do all these wonderful things, whereas a lot of companies still have those very script-based chatbots that maybe use a bit of NLU within their operations. And although there are the Gen AI chatbots, I mean, we saw a Zendesk demo, which was really great a couple of months ago. There are still a lot of those kind of first wave chatbots still lurking around. But yeah, picking up on that topic of the kind of anticipation from consumers of bots, which was definitely palpable within the report, as the following chart suggests, actually, which I'll pop up onto the screen now for all our viewers. Does what you see there kind of align with your own expectations for the tech?
Yeah, and actually, I think it kind of links back to your point around ChatGPT and OpenAI, right? So what we see as being the most sort of anticipated improvements in bot engagement is all around how the bots can help me discover products that I would like, have empathy in addressing my concerns, and looking at things like personal recommendations. So for me, I think the ability to sort of answer my basic question, people have that expectation and people would like to see that improve, but I think we kind of know that from a basic level is okay. I think it's this personalization and empathy and me being sort of heard, and you knowing me as your customer through this sort of digital agent bot experience is one of the big things we're seeing in this in our research, and we're seeing out in the industry that the advances with OpenAI and ChatGPT have opened everyone's eyes to and increased their expectation of that ability to personalize, as opposed to just deal with my basic query. So for sure, that has had we think it's a very positive trend, but it does put more expectation on people with basic chatbots to be able to deliver this and deliver it quickly if they can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, lots of really great stuff there. And digging deeper into the report, now seem to suggest too that time is of the essence with chatbots. In fact, I got a really great quote from the report here that says businesses want to remain competitive. Businesses that want to remain competitive must put resources into chatbot enhancement, and the success of those will hinge on how much thought goes into that process. So I think that's a particularly compelling point. But for businesses in that position, where should they maybe start their kind of new age chatbot journey?
Yeah, sure. So I think it's picking the right technology partner, but also understanding your customers and your customer journeys. And so we see through our research and through the work we do that actually understanding how customers are interacting with other bots and what they like about that, and then looking at your own customer journeys, where the sort of pinch points are. You want to make sure you are providing a bot and digital agent experience that is as frictionless as possible to ensure that adoption. But one of the things we do see that I think is really smart, and I must admit I've personally interacted with and think is great. We have a customer that their bot is very open about the fact that it is a bot. So it's a very clever bot. I think it's one of the best ones that I've interacted with, but it doesn't try and pretend to not be a bot. And so I think actually they found they got much better adoption with their customers using it, because it wasn't trying to pretend to be something it wasn't, but actually it was saying, hey, I'm a bot. I think I'm going to be able to help you, and I'm going to do my best to help you. But if I can't help you, I will happily get you across to someone as quick as I possibly can and pass to them the context of what we've been talking about. And so I think for me, that's sort of this, like, as this technology becomes embraced and as people are more open to working with bots, it's still important to sort of not try and trick anyone. We're very open, very upfront about it. I think that builds better engagement. And then I say understanding those customer journeys means that you are optimizing and providing a frictionless experience on something that's specific to your brand and to your company, not just some generic out the box thing that starts working in weird and wonderful ways that you hadn't predicted. So I think it's understanding customer journeys and being transparent with the end customer, what it is you're doing and how.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned that in your previous answer as well, kind of the importance of intent orchestration, almost kind of knowing what your customers are calling in about and what the best experience looks for a customer that's calling in for that issue, and then kind of implementing conversational AI in more of a strategic way. And I think that's very much kind of on the point of that's the thought that needs to go into the process.
Yeah. And to your point, it's very much about understanding the customers, and we have so much information that we as consumers share with the brands we interact with, that there is an expectation that I know that when I go to certain websites, certain apps, certain interactions, I get a very personalized experience. So that should be able to easily extend into my CX experience through a digital bot as well. So yeah, that intent data, that personalization, I think the tools we have today enable us to deliver that. And we have people doing it already, which is why that expectation is so much increased for consumers across all brands they interact with.
And it's a really great use case, I think, of having like a bot that in the customer's channel of choice that triages them to the best possible kind of place for them to get their query answered. And I think that's also a big part of the conversation too. So I think these are really great conversations that is amazing for companies to be having. I guess my next question would be, how does Zendesk ensure that its customers are putting this kind of thought into the process and really safeguarding their kind of customers' implementations?
Yeah, sure. So for Zendesk, it's very much all around our success and transformation organization. So we know that firing up a super clever AI supported digital agent is not an insignificant thing to be doing, but it's technology wise it's reasonably straightforward, and certainly with Zendesk we can do these things very quickly. But it's actually around safeguarding the journey, understanding the customers, understanding the data and the structure of that, to make sure that you actually have something that is representative of your brand. So we are very conscious that the bot that you put out there, it is now an extension of your brand. And in the same way that you would want to ensure quality of the experience with your human agents, it's the same with digital. So there's both a sort of methodical implementation around understanding journeys, understanding the data, and ensuring we can do it. We're in a fortunate position that because of the way our large language model works and the way we work with our Zendesk customer data, we've got a highly efficient trained model that understands intent, understands sentiment, and understands these things across a really broad range of CX interactions. But then we also recently acquired a company, Klaus, which provides quality assurance for all interactions, be that let's say live interactions, digital interactions, bot interactions. So again, there's been a few things in the press of late of some chatbots going off and being a little bit off message, shall we say, or off brand. And I think that's that quality assurance that we can also provide across every single interaction within a digital environment, as well as a sort of physical human and voice environment, I think is super important, so that if there is a problem, you're alerted to it instantly and can take corrective action and ensure that let's say that extension of your brand is providing that high quality that you'd want to have from your physical agents in the same way with your digital agents.
Yeah, and I really did love that Klaus acquisition, because you can kind of envision a contact center that has a Zendesk ticket with a QA score for every interaction, whether that's live and automated, as you mentioned there. And I think that's very powerful alongside the intent and the sentiment. So I think was a really great acquisition. It's great to hear how Zendesk is kind of supporting its customers and making these implementations too. I think that's super important, as you say, with some of the stories that we've been seeing in the press recently about chatbots.
I think another thing to add on that also is almost some of the operational metrics to underpin some of these things, right? So as a lot of these contact center environments have gone from purely voice channels to then channel of your choice, to live chat, to messaging, and now to digital agents, the metrics in which you monitor and ensure quality through your staff have changed. So I was with a customer a couple of weeks ago who talked about their call handling time, and their point was, well, the fact we answer our calls within 30 seconds is good, but the fact that person may get passed on to 7 different departments before they get what they need is not good. And the fact that person may disconnect, call back again, and we answer the phone quickly again, great, but they're still not having a great experience from us. And so I think that's also where we've seen, and I do sympathize for CX leaders, that the pace of technology change means that the metrics that we measure, quality, we measure efficiency, we measure performance of our whole CX environment is becoming more and more complicated. And so, to your point, I think Klaus has been a really good acquisition for us alongside TimeShift on our whole sort of workforce engagement management, to ensure that both digital and human agents are providing that service, but we're doing it with real access to the data and understanding, because there's no way you're going to model this on a spreadsheet like we used to 15 years ago.
Yeah, and I think that's also very interesting as well when you think about the nature of a contact center, when the people kind of running these projects have worked their way up almost from agents, and they kind of see how people used to do it, and they kind of carry that on, and it can be quite difficult for them to kind of take a broader view maybe, which again I think goes back to the point around kind of how Zendesk gives its kind of supports its clients in making these implementations. I think that comes back to a really good point.
Yeah. And I agree with you also that I think the breadth of the people involved with customer-facing CX is changing. So it almost used to be it was a controlled environment within the contact center, and therefore that meant there was a control element to it, a structure, whereas now we've got these digital agents, you've also got multiple channels, so consumers are interacting far more directly with the technology than they did previously, and that does create both hopefully a better, more reactive, faster response time, which is what consumers want. But from a control and a process point of view, it does require, exactly to your point, a slightly different different way of thinking and some different tools and processes to ensure that it's done in a way that protects your brand and a way that provides great service to customers, but whilst embracing the way that customers or consumers want to interact with your brand.
It is very difficult. It must be a very difficult job right now to be a contact center manager, with kind of learning about these kind of new technologies, the new environments with hybrid as well. And I guess kind of have Zendesk reputation of being a software vendor that's with very high usability, ease of use. That's probably quite a big differentiator right now, but I won't go more into that now. What I will say for everybody watching is that we do have the full 2024 CX Trends report from Zendesk. That's available in the description box below, where you can learn more about kind of the chatbot and conversational AI alongside many more trends. But yeah, I think that's probably a great place to end today's conversation. Eric, it was really great. So thank you for joining me today.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, Charlie. Thank you very much.
Excellent. And thanks to everybody for watching too. Bye for now.